what could have been. Finally, I feel more free. The end of you and me. Let it go, let it be. My heart belongs to me. My heart belongs to me. You're never gonna let me go, and I will never let you go.
Good morning, good afternoon, or even good evening, wherever in the world you are right now. Welcome to the Wolves Esports Twitch channel and YouTube channel. We are streaming on both. How are you doing today? I'm doing good. Thank you for asking very much. Aiden, buddy, you're there as well. How are you doing there?
I'm doing fantastic. Maybe I'm personally doing a little better than maybe Wolves are doing after yesterday. I know that it was tough for them, and I'm sure they had a bit of a restless night laying in bed, probably turning one way and the other, thinking about how they dropped 5 overtimes, because that is really, really painful. It's an absolute thorn in the side, and I think for a long time they're going to be looking back at this week in the grid and thinking that's actually ridiculous. There's so many winnable games that somehow just slipped on by.
Yeah, we're looking at it and saying potentially we could have finished second in the group, but those OTs just really, really hurt. We don't want to see any more of them. But the problem is, coming out the bottom of your group does mean you go up against one of the top teams of the other groups. And today, it's Redemption once again. We faced them 2 weeks back, Aiden. And to be quite honest, it was not pretty. Redemption at the moment are doing absolutely phenomenally. We have to, whilst looking from an outside perspective, look at this team and go, this team is doing better than what you would expect at the start of the season. A team that's picked up, put themselves together, essentially like Wolves, but are somehow being able to contest at the top 6 level in Europe. And it's just absolutely crazy. And we were talking beforehand, when is that honeymoon period going to end for them? And we're hoping it's sooner rather than later, realistically.
I mean, we talk about honeymoon periods a lot. We talked about it with Wolves as well. I know that we had some fantastic performances right when the team was founded, and we went on that great run through the qualifiers and beat some big teams. I remember beating Solary and thinking that was awesome. Like, we played so well. And with these things, I think, of course, Rocket League, it's a fast-paced environment. You're playing every day. You're playing matches every day. So that's what separates it from, normal sports and things. And with esports, you're always in match environments, and you're doing this constantly. So you've always got time to be working on how you actually perform as a team in those game environments, right? In those competitive environments. And a real good team will be able to take that honeymoon phase and keep building on it. And I think that Redemption have been doing that, because they've been playing together for now about as long as Wolves have. And now we're seeing that Wolves have got this dip in form, whereas Redemption just seem to be continuing that momentum. And if they can keep it up, that they will be a very dangerous team going forward. But the way they're performing at the moment, you have to take them seriously, because they are a top team at the moment. Top 6 in the regional event. And in the field as well, they've been doing well. In the grid, they've been doing well. I think they got the top 4 in week 1, and ended up losing to Galaxy Racer in a really close series that went 4-3 for Galaxy Racer. But it's really impressive, and I've got a lot of time for that team, because I'm enjoying seeing a new roster come through and give results like that. And I'm kind of just wishing that was us.
That is it. The reason why I can understand a little bit of hate is purely just our jealousy at this point in time. But it is what it is, and it just means that the lads have to look on further. They've just got to get their heads straight and just say, well, it's Redemption. They're in a very similar boat to them. On our day, we can take them, and just not worry too much, because today, well, if it's going to be their day, it's going to be a very tough ask. First of all, we got to face Redemption in, of course, the single in bracket. If we take them down, well, then we go up against the winner of Renault Vitality and Oxygen Esports. After that, it could be the winners coming on through from BDS, Rix, Giants, or Fadeaway. So just straight up, the route to semis is entirely stacked. And I mean, it's the grid. What else do you expect? Top 16 teams in Europe. It's always going to be absolutely stacked. But look into this one coming on up. Aiden, if I ask you, the 3 players, Cash, Mike Boy, and Ocelon, who are you most, should we say, scared of? Who's the one to watch out for in Redemption?
Tough to say, because they all 3 complement each other so well. I've been a big fan of Ocelon. I followed him a bit while he was at Fadeaway and Nameless and thought his performances were always fairly consistent. But I think that Mike Boy is the danger man in this team, and he's just been popping off lately. And he, of course, played with Rix Ronde, our captain, in a team, and so he knows him. He knows what he does, and I think if you know a player that well, you can use that to your advantage. And you might say the same about Rix, but it is Mike Boy and Redemption who have the upper hand going to this. It's their game to win, and they are the stronger team. So with the momentum and everything, I think Mike Boy is the guy we're going to be looking out for. And hopefully Rix Ronde's got a couple of tips for Lewis and Oli for dealing with him.
Yeah, and that always intrigues me because the third man to the roster, Cash, is probably the one I'd personally be most afraid of, just purely because of his mechanical goal scoring ability. But like we said, all three players have got so much capability. Mike Boy is a solid first man, a ignition to the team, and then Oslon is the core, the anchor to the squad. So a lot to be worried about there. But when we look over towards the Wolves side, of course, there's so many similarities that it's just ridiculous. We talk about Mike Boy, well, then we've got Rix Ronde. If you talk about Oslon, we've got Oli. If you talk about Cash, we've seen what Lewis P can do on those solo plays. But it just seems that that initial chemistry has not come together as strong for Wolves. It is improving. Incredible stuff, we have to say, yesterday, and the amount this team has improved is just something else. But it just seems like we're a little bit slower to start. So whilst the potential is there for Wolves, you just got to keep yourself realistic and keep taking each day as it comes, right?
Well, it's one step at a time, and when it comes to these things, it's very, very small steps, because you need a lot of time to improve a team and keep working on the fundamentals, because when you've got an initial fundamental problem like Wolves are having sometimes in some of these games that we're seeing these balls go in from clearances, that's a fundamental issue that has to be broken down to what are we doing in the rotation and the comms, why is there no one back, why are we leaving that gap there, then leaving one man back against a demo heavy team. And you're thinking there's fundamental issues that they need to work on, and when it's that, you've got to take it one little step at a time. And fortunately, in the grid, you've got a number of weeks to keep playing, improving, and showing that you can compete at the level, and that you're worthwhile there. And really, it's an opportunity to take it, playing against the top teams in Europe, to be able to continue improving, because it's not like the regional, it's not like a one and done. It's 4 weeks. Of course, last split it was 9 weeks, so it's a lot shorter this time round, but it's still 4 weeks of the same format, playing against similar teams and being able to keep stepping up your level. And if you don't take that opportunity, you're going to be kicking yourself.
And we've got to think as well, today is the last day of, I guess, before a break anyway, of the RLCS winter split. After today, we go on to a little break and come back on the 2nd and 3rd of January. It's not even that much of a rest after New Year's. But you look at today, and so many teams are going to be going away, looking back over their VODs from today and focusing on that during the break. So whilst there's a lot of training coming on up, there's also a lot of Rocket League after the Christmas/winter break. As we hop onto the pitch, Wolves will be in the orange as always, and Redemption will be in the blue. Let's go, 5 minutes on the clock. Let's go, Wolves. Come on, let's do this. Redemption stand in our way, but that just means we've got to push them aside. Rix only getting that ball up middle. My boy, scary threat on the backboard, but only yesterday was a fantastic goalkeeper and stands strong today. Lewis P needs an option down middle, but gets the bump. Rick's not able to finish it off and only has to backtrack and get back to defense.
Well, we saw it yesterday. Great opportunities for us, but denied one over and over and over. And maybe either questioning our finishing ability or proving that the defenses of other teams are just getting better and better. And that skill cap, that skill ceiling is just getting higher and higher. And you really need something special to get one through. We have been denied early on here, but it's a fairly decent, close, tight start here in game one. And Wolves really the most threatening so far in the first minute. But as I say that, the caster's curse becomes true, and Mike Boy makes it 1-0 for Redemption.
As is always the way, Mike Boy. You did point him out. Don't know, are you Are you the real curse here, Aiden? After all those OTs yesterday, buddy. I'm watching you.
I mean, most definitely. I was questioning it myself. I thought, well, I had 5 OTs myself in a tournament in the weekend, and then I saw 5 for Wolves and losing them all. No, no, flashbacks. And it continues to be flashing back as Cash sends one home again for redemption. It's 2-0 and a very slow start now for Wolves, having a great opportunity very early on, but it seems the opportunities did not keep coming our way, and redemption finishing very clinically here.
Yeah, great cross-goal shot there coming out from Cash. Defender nowhere near being able to get that, expecting it to be on the close post. Rix Ronde not going to be able to pick that up, but Oli is across pitch. Dismantled in the midfield as Rix will have the bits up again. You could see there, Mike Boy going for the demo, finally finds it on Rix. It was like a homing missile there.
He had to turn back, didn't he? Rix read it well, slapped on those brakes and sent him flying, but it was good reactions by Mike Boy to swing back around and still get the demo. Wolves finding it hard to find time on the ball. Redemption playing quite high pressure, not giving us a lot of space, not giving us any wiggle room, and our passes need to be accurate if we want to break through the midfield, because Cash there just denying it in the midfield. And this is one of the things I've been seeing at times with Wolves. We try to play those quick balls downfield, those seeking passes. But when there's one man in that midfield on that halfway line, they more often than not seem to get cut out, and then we're on the back foot again. But we are trying to build momentum here in front of the redemption net, but denied well by Cash. And well, Wolves, it's looking a little bit more positive, a little bit more forward thinking, Rocket League.
You can see they're slowly pushing forward, focusing on that boost, trying to take it all away from Redemption and then just push the line. But Redemption have got a great answer to this as Cash tries to stall it downfield. My boy in an awkward position. Only does pick it up. The pass inwards is fantastic. Finds Rix Ronde and finds a goal for Wolves.
This was great play by Wolves, you know, not forcing it too high, keeping it simple. Rick's there in the middle, and we just dragged the defense across, and it wasn't rushed, it wasn't forced, and it's really good to see from the boys, because yesterday it saw a lot of this forced movements and really not taking enough time and not calculated enough. That was looked very composed, and now Wolves Esports only 1 goal down. We've got 2 minutes remaining, so plenty of time for us to find an equalizer, but can't take our feet off the gas, because Redemption, as we know, as we talked about before we started here, are a team on the rise, an up-and-coming team with fantastic roster that we can only take seriously.
Lewis P again demoed on out there. Oli can only just hold the ball in the midfield for so long. Another demo onto Lewis. He's got to be getting frustrated, and that is a frustrating 50-50. Cash somehow being able to just drag the ball through our last man, Rix.
Well, it's a very, very harsh 50, and could have been taken better by Rix, but one positive we can take from that one is the demo came out on Lewis and we still had someone on net. It wasn't just an open net. Like 9 times out of 10, if that happened yesterday, that would have just been wide open. And this time, Wolves are actually back. They've got 2 people back, and we're able to at least get something on the ball. Of course, unfortunately, we're now 2 goals down again, but at least something is improving.
Yeah, and that is it coming in through this entire week. We were just looking for improvements. I like this idea so much. That is so well read in defense. The pass back is fantastic. Can he finish off? Yes, he can. What a team play.
Oh, you love to see this. Once again, look how composed that was, how accurate the passing was. I mean, that was just a work of art. Like, if we just take a moment to appreciate that play from Wolves, the ball going from one side to the other, Redemption, no time to react. We just tore them apart. Now, once again, only 1 goal behind. Hopefully not too little too late. But surely, with 47 seconds, we can find something. No, don't worry. Don't worry. Oli's there. He's going to get there.
Sorry, the PTSD was kicking in right there. Nearly as well. Rick's doing good to hold the lines again, just making sure there's always a player between ball and net. Connection, Rix was just a little bit too far across by that point. Lewis Probably going to need to slow this down a little bit. He did get the pass off towards Oli, who's taking his time and just throwing it meekly towards Ocelon. Don't worry about that, just giving over control of the ball.
With the amount of time left on the clock, Oli is not going to be happy with himself because that was a real opportunity. He had so much time and ended up getting such a weak shot away, and we know he's capable of much, much more, and I think he's well aware of that as well. But trying to keep it up now. 0 seconds on the clock. If we can find one to get into overtime and maybe break an overtime sort of bad omen, then that would be lovely, but we can't keep it up, and Redemption will take game 1. And Wolves already on the back foot after the first game. First game, not always super telling in a series, but if we can go by how last week went, it's not a great start.
No, last week, clarify for those at home and that might have not tuned on in, we did lose an OT in that very first game. 3-2 in the end. Here, the positive sign for me, Aiden, is that Wolves were 2-0 down and then started looking good. They were just slow to start for the first 2 minutes and then really saw Redemption at their own game. That needs to be carried on over into the next one and probably even advanced a little bit more, because Redemption are going to be the ones coming up with new game plans here, because Wolves have figured Redemption out to bring it to a 50-50 stalemate, and it is all down now to Redemption to respond, isn't it?
Well, I think Wolves getting off to a slow start is very, very true. And we saw this yesterday in our first game against BDS, which was the first series of the day that we played. We went 2 goals down, fought our way back, and ended up in a 3-2 position against them. I think that game went to overtime as well. So maybe a little characteristic. Wondering how these guys are warming up. Maybe not doing the right thing before the game. I don't know, but the starts do seem to be slow, but the start is not slow here in game 2 as we get an early 1-goal lead. It is going to be Oli. Fantastic 50 on Mike Boy. And then just sends it on by into that bottom left. And now we can finally be in the lead and try to hold on to this.
I just wish we could clone Oli. No offense to Rix and Lewis, but if we just had 3 Olis, I think we would be good. That would be the same for any team, to be honest, and everyone would make that comment. Oli, down towards the mid, not enough boost, so has to fall back. Rick's up in the corner. Not taking his time, wanted to clear it away, but it does get a lot of distance on that. Cash not expecting that touch, and Oli 50-50 into Ocelon. Ball's going to linger around for a moment. Cash is the first one onto it, sending it to the mid. Rick's off the wall, was expecting Oli to be able to chase up on that, but Oli just has so little boost there. Does pick up the corner admittedly, but in that moment he just was not able to get around quick enough.
Well, it's a tight one, and we will have a lot of defending to do, I think, in this game. We need to have a bit of that magic that we had in the last game as well with those passing plays. That's another great pass coming out over to Ole. Not able to finish the attack, and well, it's looking better than game 1, at least the start. Just need to hold on to this. It's the first time in a while that we've actually been in the lead in a game, and now we have something to hold on to, something to fight for. It's good work by Cash there with that squishy save. And Redemption, at the moment, not finding it too easy to find some space in the midfield. Not able to knock it around, but we've got to be careful. Can't give them opportunities like that. It was a bit sloppy from Rix and a little bit uncharacteristic from him, not usually playing the ball into his own danger zone. But Wolves now still looking for that cushion, still looking for a second goal under a bit of pressure now from Redemption.
And I look at this and see that we're in this stalemate purely because both teams are focusing quite heavy on the defense. You've only got Rix there in the attack. Looks a little bit slow, but he couldn't have seen that it was going to be so dead down the middle. And take the statement from Callie in chat there. We'd be fine as well with 3 Rix Rondes and 3 Lewises. We're fine with this goal as well before I go on to that point. How on earth was no one ready for this from Redemption?
This was a bit weird. I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe the honeymoon phase is a real thing and they're starting to come to the end of it, because that was sloppy. And I think you would have a team half of the caliber of Wolves and they would score from that position. You got to respect the defending that Oli did leading to that play. Got a great read. He was in a 1v2 situation and seems to be very comfortable in those situations. It's great to see how he's developing as a player during his time here at Wolves. I remember in his first few days, he was solely an aggressive, forward, offensive player, and you wouldn't see too much of him at the back. Now he seems to be so confident in defending and using his mechanics to be able to recover well, and he's got good reads on his opponents as well. It's lovely to see from him. Did so well yesterday in net. Some huge clutch saves to prevent us from being absolutely run over. At the moment, Wolves defending quite deep, 2 men back, and I'm not upset with that. Quite happy to see that, but I'm happy to see this.
No. Again, Carsten's Curse hitting strong there. This was just near enough, right on the line, dragged on in. The lads trying to hold the angles, but not expecting Might Boy to just rush it on net, the pass straight down to him. But it's only 1 goal back, still a goal ahead. Oli looking to quickly redeem his team. The pass on up, but Rix can't get it on target. Lewis P gonna slow things down, pop it in the corner. But Oslan is there. Oli with 1. Can he get a second touch? He can. But it's only good enough for a 50-50.
I mean, the balance is so hard. I mean, we talk about, you know, the problems of leaving 1 man back, and then we see 2 men back and we still concede. And the problem is when you defend too deep, you're then inviting pressure onto yourselves, which is exactly what happened. It's all about finding that fine balance between offense and defense. Really, I feel at times it's our midfield that goes a little missing, but it doesn't go missing as Lewis P does get a 3rd goal for Wolves, and now everyone, I think, has gotten on the score sheet in this series for Wolves. Which one they scored? I think he scored in the first game.
I'm there going, I can't remember from the top of my head, but come on, it's Rix. Of course he scored, right? If not, you got 55 seconds, mate. And then, of course, everyone would have scored in this game alone. Damn, what's a belter? That was from Cash.
That was actually... How does he generate this much power? I need to practice these, you know, because... Sorry, I hit the ball and just rolls on the floor. But this was 141 kilometers an hour. From the ground. No pinch needed, just a nice calculated hit, and gotta be careful now. Less than a minute on the clock, but we're only 1 goal ahead. Redemption. A very, very dangerous team. Got to take it seriously. We can't get complacent, and there it is.
You could see Oslan picking this up, but again, such a simple shot. The threat coming on through, the double commit, no one reading where that was going to be, expecting Oslan to somehow get another touch there.
There's no one back post.
Yeah.
No one. 2 people on front post. It's just these old problems that we keep talking about, Bacon. Keep seeing time and time again, and we've been in such a good position this game. Now it's all tied up.
I'm a little bit scared. Last 12 seconds. Oslan not going to be able to convert that. Nicely taken off to the side by Oli, but Cash is there. He's going to try and go for the rebound, set it in front of net. Good clear away from Lewis. Rix going to just try and keep this one alive, but yeah.
All right, no,
there was a part of me that wanted to floor. Yeah.
Can't do another overtime. Can't do it. Can't watch another overtime. It's not... I'm going to have my eyes closed for the rest of this. Just tell me what happens, Bake.
I will, because Lewis is taking it down into the corner. Oslan with a big clearance all the way down to the Wolves' halves, and he's been allowed to chase on it. Gets a connection with that ball. Oli with a clearance. Rix is down there. Not the touch he wanted, but he's going to be able to follow up. Wanted a 50-50 against Might Boy. But Oslan will come through to clean it on up. Oli looking for Rix, who's just misdodged onto it, going out wide. Oslan not being able to get that connection as Lewis P gets it away to the side. It's a little bit touch and go. Demo's coming on out. And no. Oli, yes. As Rix is going to be able to pick this up in the corner. Get it away, lads. I can't take any more of this. Great control to just try and pop it on up. But nothing coming out from Wolves here. Stuck into their own half. Cash looking to lay this off from Oslan. And Oli once again trying his darndest, but with no boost. in the tank. Everyone is struggling to get away. Finally, opportunity, and Rick's Rondo will get it out of defense.
I respect this from Wolves. They couldn't afford to make one single mistake. Not mechanically, not positionally, not with comms. It had to be perfect, and it was. We got out of a very, very sticky one. Now, we just need to translate what we did in defense into the midfield, going forward, and then in attack. We need to find that goal. We need to break this overtime curse. And I'm still very nervous, and I am watching the game. I didn't close my eyes. That was a lie, but because I can't, give up on the boys. Come on now. Can't be a fickle fan.
No, you can't be one of those. And one big thing throughout the entirety of that is the amount of boost, because these players don't know how much each other have. Not only their teammates, but their opponents as well. This is something we've got for you guys on broadcast so that you can see it. And so they're trying to read each other, read their opponents, and work on out. And at the opposite end of the pitch, Redemption, they're trying to basically smother Wolves so that they just have nothing to up their pace. Shot put on from Oslon. It is well put off to the side. Oli, massive touch, massive connection off with Rick's Rondo. He's looking to try and 50-50 out. Does get the connection. Oli, it's not what he wanted. Lewis is just going to have to scrape something together there. Try and hold it up. Ricks with such an early pre-jump. But Cash, once again, looking to put that pressure back on.
Well, it's been a very tightly contested overtime. We got a bit of momentum going forward now. We got a bit of pressure. We managed to get out of half. And now it's a bit of a scrappy game. Both teams fighting for possession, fighting for the ball. Neither team wanting to drop this overtime, but this one is more important for Wolves than it is for Redemption. We would, if we concede here, that Redemption will go up onto that match point. We will have our backs against the wall, but a game back here will definitely give us a glimmer of hope, a shining light at the end of that tunnel. We've been looking for our first win in the grid, and if we get a win here in game 2 in this overtime, it will be one step in the right direction. But we've got to stay focused, concentrated, and keep pushing forward. You can't drop the confidence now.
That is it. It's not only about breaking the curse of OTs, but also breaking the curse of no series wins. Being able to get double trouble in this series would be something spectacular. Lewis a little bit caught up in the corner, and you can see Oli doesn't want to take that boost. In the end, it'll be picked up by one of the Redemption players, but that's purely because he could see Lewis was struggling. The drop down, but Oli just not able to get there in time.
He was quite close to the play, under the ball, couldn't position himself correctly, and now it's looking dangerous, but a good clear downfield. We'll take the pressure away for the time being. I'll leave it for a moment. That's a great drop down by Cash. Ocelon with the follow. It is a scrappy midfield game at the moment. A lot of long passes coming out, being intercepted one way or the other. So we've almost reached just as much time in this overtime as we did in regular time. But this is going to be dangerous. My boy, as I called it, the danger man, putting Ricks under a bit of pressure. Ricks doing well, though, at the back. And we are back in defense again. Can't afford to get penned in once more. I don't know how much more pressure like that Wolves would be able to take. We need to do it the other side.
A big play slap would be stealing away as much boost as we can from Redemption, but Demos is also an answer. Oli removing the player there. Ricks wanted to go for the shot, but just off target. Lewis B back into the mix there, but Oslon will see it off, send it down to the corner. Oli is ready for that. The pass up to Rick's Ronde. He's just going to try and stealth it around. But Mike Boy disallowing. Again, such a tight overtime. 5 minutes and 20 seconds on in. That's off the woodwork. The pass back to Mike Boy in the center. What a save from Lewis P. Ricks. Oh, he did not see Mike Boy come on in there.
Wow, I've got to give it to Redemption there. Making the right plays at the right time. They see 2-3 people back. They go, no, can't go for solo play here. Got to link the passes together. They did it well. The awareness was there, but Ricks, you're kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. Why has he not banged this away? Why has he kept it close? Why has he not just rushed this? Oh, come on, not another 0-6 in overtime this week. 0-6. can't take any more of it. I can't
A
take any more of it.
missed touch from Oli there is what caught it. And this highlights why Rocket League, in so many ways, is such an incredible esport. Is just that tiny little mistake is what caused the issue. Naturally, pressure being put on from Redemption made it such a stressful situation. Over 5 minutes, an extra game played on out purely for that one golden goal.
It just keeps coming down to a lapse in focus. I mean, as much as Rix could have gone fast to that ball, was it really the right decision to pass with one man back, in your own half when you've got people from Redemption pushing up? And even if he had the awareness where Rix was, it was still a risky pass to make, even if it was inch perfect. You got Mike Boy rushing at, what was it, Ocelon, sorry, rushing into that play. Just get it downfield. Lewis was ready for it. He wanted it.
And not only does that make, 6 losses in the OT and 6 OTs this week alone. Last time out in the grid, we also went to 2 OTs and lost that there. Wolves just don't win in OTs. And how does this even slip on in?
I don't think we win in regular time either. Not that I wanted to make it sound any worse. But yeah, well on our way.
No, that's it, right. No negativity. We turn this up. Twitch chat, we're turning this up right now. Wolves are coming back. They're going for the reverse sweep. I don't care what you say. Let's go on, lads. Rix, Oli, and Lewis are going to do absolute bits to be able to turn this around. Be careful, Redemption. Wolves are cranking it up to 11. And no!
We can try. I mean, I respect it. Now 2 goals down, and we're well on our way to losing 6 games in total to Redemption in the grid.
I don't even know what to say at that. Come on. It's only 2 goals. Rix taking it to the corner is good, but this pressure applied by Austin with 0 boost. You can see it's just made it down to the corner of the back pass, looking for Mike Boy. He's popped it in the air, up above the net. Oslan was quite far back because he had to go for mid boost. So all the core, all the foundation is there, but again...
And the concern that I really have now at the moment for Wolves is how long can you keep going on a losing streak? How much more can you take? Surely the mentality of these players is not going to improve much, especially losing in an overtime like that, in which they created plenty of chances, but then ended up losing anyway. And you think the more you lose, you got to remind yourself that everyone pretty much that plays professional Rocket League is pretty much under the age of 21. There's not many players over that age. They're quite young, and on top of that, very competitive mindset. And we see the competitive mindset coming out as Rix does get one, but when you get very competitive like these guys are, you hate losing, and that hurts. And hopefully Wolves can still bring this one back.
Right.
Hopefully. 3 minutes now, 2 goals down.
There is light at the end of the tunnel. I believe it so much. Lads, no more silly mistakes. You got to give it 110%. No less. So much to ask. Big demo coming out from Lewis B onto Cash. Rix Ronde into the corner. Lewis B's going to have to try and pop it back. Rix does have the boost to get the high in the air. Oli's going for a double tap off the scene on this. Will keep this ball pressured downfield. So Lewis and Rix will be able to turn around and get back in the midfield and keep this pressure going. But the pressure has to be converted. And just on the line, they keep it on out. Nice play from Oli here. That's going to be over the Rix. It's happening. Yes, Wolves.
Much, much better. It's really, really good. I mean, the amount of times that we go 2 or 3 goals down and we do come back into it. And I just wonder, what is it? What is it about being behind that we seem to enjoy so much? I mean, it's been a recurring theme ever since the qualifiers. You know, the lower bracket. Oh yeah, no worries. We'll lose the first series of the upper. We'll become the losers in the loser bracket. But you know what? Under pressure, we'll just win everything. And now every time we go down, we find goals back. But where is this desire at the beginning of the game? Where is this focus? Where is this concentration? This passion? They love to try and turn a game around. But what about just taking the lead? At least for us. You know, it hurts. It hurts my heart. I can only take so much, and the older I get, I don't know how much more I'll be able to take of this losing, and then trying to fight back and maybe hoping. No, never mind.
I've got to look at this a second time. That is such a fine margin from Cash there onto Lewis B. I don't know how you pull that off.
They're
And
just
again,
good. You have to admit, Redemption are just so good. Like, this is one of the reasons why they're doing so well. That 50 was so good by Cash. I mean, you called Cash the danger man, and I called Mike Boy, and I mean, I don't know. I think everyone on Redemption today has been a danger man. I don't think you can count a single player out. That you've got to be worried about all of them because they are a unit.
Off the crossbar once again from Oli. How many times have we seen that as well this week? Just the woodwork being another demon for us. Oli in the air. Gotta get this downfield. Trying to get that 50-50 on Oslan. Does connect it. We need to follow through here. Lewis up into the air. Oli's got to pass this on out. He's going for the shot. And of course, no one there to realistically clean up on it. And that's where we need to be doing infield passing plays. Not just going straight for the net because those are too easy to save at this current level of competitive Rocket League.
Silence is the only answer to this one. It's again Redemption. They just do everything right. I mean, Wolves looks comfortable. Yeah, gonna dribble this one out. We're gonna take this one out. We're gonna set up a play. But my boy doesn't give up. On the rotation out, gets the demo. They are so focused, these guys, this Redemption team. They are so clinical at everything they do. You know, if you get a best practices of Rocket League book, they follow every single one to the T. The positioning, the rotations out, the bumps on the way out, the shooting. And at this point, we can concede the fact this is a 3-0 sweep for Redemption, the same as last week. And I mean, the only thing we can do is try to look forward to week 3. But this is another painful week. The amount of overtimes we've seen, and it's a better Wolves team than we saw in week 1. And I hope that the boys, that the lads playing, they see that. I hope Juicy sees that, because the 2 overtimes we had against BDS, the 3 overtimes we had against Liquid, in regular play, you've gone evens with these teams.
Well,
with
statistically
potentially
speaking, Wolves are probably the weakest team in the grid. And I mean, that's something to talk about there. And the amount of growth we've seen. We've looked at both the groups we had back in week 1. That group did absolute millions and started a streak for all 3 of those teams. Our group yesterday was near enough all top 8. I think the weakest was Liquid, who is statistically now the 10th best team in Europe. Let's not even talk about BDS and Galaxy Racer. I think 1st and 6th, respectively. So it is just that case of seeding does have an effect here, and we just got to take each step as it comes. We now have 3.5 weeks. Like we said, January 2nd and 3rd is when the next grid happens, and then after, of course, we have the regional splits and so forth. So we've got this Christmas break, and Wolves, knowing the lads, are not going to be having a break. That is just 3 weeks of sheer training. They might have Christmas Day off. They might have New Year's Day off, but every other waking moment, they're going to be working at it because they have that hunger. It is a brilliant Wolves mentality to just continuously hunt down that trophy at the end of it, and they want to grow and get there. They have so much passion for this game.
I mean, I respect Wolves. I mean, I know that these guys are all very competitive. I know what they want. And when you've got a player like Rix Ronde in your team, he may not be the flashiest. He may not be the best. But you know what? That lad's got desire, because I can't even. I've lost count how many times he's qualified for the grid with so many different teams, so experienced, and he keeps doing it time and time again.
RCS as well.
Yeah,
this lad has been around since perhaps not day one, but towards the end of year one, he made his name known. Rix is such an old head on young shoulders. You know, he's wise in the game. He is a proper captain through and through of the team. But he's got two young lads who only really broke onto the scene either at the earlier point of this year or about the end of last year. Like when you looked at Lewis P, it was on that Subversion either side. When he really got his big break beforehand, it was on teams like Super Mode and such. And only even more recent with, say, Barrage and that. So it's just coming down to they're taking the time, and this is a project team. It is not. Everyone knew since day one this was not going to be an instant result. This is something that will grow throughout, and the real goal is to get up to the top bin in the spring split. Winter is all about potential and growth.
Yeah, and I do hope that they keep pushing off this split as well, because it's three talented guys, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot of orgs out there as well looking at players like Oli and thinking, well, he is phenomenal. But I hope that the project remains. I hope that they keep working, because there has been improvement. And I know that you guys watching may think it's not looking good, guys. It's not looking good. You haven't won a single game in 2 weeks in the grid, but you can't just go by the results. Of course, at the end of the day, we want to win. You know, you want wins and you want points. You know, you go in the Premier League football and you go, well, if you're bottom of the table, you're going to get relegated. But it's not the same in Rocket League. You can just qualify for the grid next time again. It's not like we can't get back in. So but we got to look at how are we progressing. You know, how are we going into every game? And from our point of view, I think Bacon and I, we both agree that this is a better Wolves team than we saw 4 weeks ago.
Way better. And whilst you can look at it at the same time that a lot of the other teams are also growing, when we look in the grid, let's just take a look at Redemption, Fadeaway, and I would argue Rix seemingly having hit a little bit more of a mellow point as they're looking to change up their game. Singularity as well. It is not just Wolves in this position. I am going to quickly have a little look through the groups, because to just say that, I do believe Rix GG also haven't won a single game throughout the whole of the grid. And it's just that sort of case, like we said, of seeding. Sometimes it sucks, is what it is. And I just looked, no, Rix GG have got a game, so yikes.
I think Magnus is just happy to be here, though, in the end of the day.
Yeah, that's more it.
He's so chuffed.
He's along for the ride. Metzer, of course, his old teammate on endpoint, so got the better end of the stick. Magnus, a big redemption season for him, but no one was really expecting that move to Rix. And when we look at this Wolves side, it is just that case of right now, these lads have to learn the ropes. You know, they've got to learn what it takes to be in the RLCS.
Absolutely. I mean, they've proven in the last regional that they can do it. It's just finding that consistency. It's and it comes down a lot to a lack of awareness, and I think it's still. The fundamentals come from just not knowing each other well enough, or maybe that I also see they've been changing style a lot, and I think that can affect your in-game awareness of what's going on around you and where you expect people to be. Every time you change sort of your fundamental play style, people are going to be in different positions, and when you get used to someone being in a specific position in a specific play, it's hard to get rid of those habits. And in Rocket League, it's all about building habits. You start off, when you're a low ranked player in plat or gold or diamond, and you're learning rotation, you force it so much because you just need to build that habit. And then as you get better and better, the plays become more and more complex. And of course, you keep having to force them, but to build that habit. But if you keep changing the play style, as you do with a project team like this, that awareness is always going to be hard to build up, and they still need time.
Yeah, like I said, a few weeks to deal with that, because guys, that is it. Up until Christmas, there is no more Rocket League to be played on out for Wolves, and arguably for the rest of Europe at the same time. So the 2nd and 3rd of January, that's when we're back here on this channel again, 5 p.m. CET, might be 6 p.m. CET. 4 GMT, 5 GMT, dependent. We don't have the exact time there. But of course, the 2nd of January, make sure to head back here to the Wolves Esports Twitch and YouTube channels. To keep updated with everything, head on over to Twitter, follow at Wolves Esports so you can keep up to date and everything that is going on with the team. Of course, whilst you're there, why don't you drop a cheeky little follow to both myself at Digital Bacon 1 and at Aiden Sees Things. But until January, stay safe, see you soon, enjoy the winter break. Toodles.
Welcome Tizo
Welcome to Zo.
Welcome, Tizo.
to our global headphones partner.
From
Here's
To Heart.
We stand and watch the